You've been collecting watches all wrong, and I'll show you why. I'm gonna get so much hate for this. So much hate. Now, I've seen all the videos on how to build the perfect watch collection, ranging from entry level to luxury, under 3K, under 10K, under 50K, one dress watch, one dive watch, one chronograph. I've seen it all, and I didn't really understand what was wrong with that approach until this year when I started trimming down my collection. If you haven't seen my state of the collection, I'm gonna go ahead and post it there, but it wasn't until I bought my Tudor Royal where I realized I didn't need a lot of the watches in my collection. And that's where I came up with this list on the different types of watches you need to have in your collection. These are more targets that your watch collection should hit. And if that doesn't make any sense to you right now, just give me a few minutes and I'll explain it. And something of note is that this collection can literally be one watch. It doesn't have to be 10 different watches. So I'm gonna go ahead and go through this list as of 2024. There's gonna be categories in here where I'm gonna have to refine in the future, but for right now, I think this is the best basis that we can go off of. Now, I've broken this up into two different collections, your main watch collection and your extended collection. And I'll get into both of those. But first, we'll start off with the main watch collection. The first watch in your collection should be the Cornerstone. This is the watch that your entire collection should be built around. It should be from a brand that has a long, rich history. It should be somewhat recognizable. It should transcend trends and fads. It should have a reliable, serviceable movement. It should be made out of high quality materials, and you should be able to wear this watch in a variety of different settings. And if you're wondering which watch fits this category for me, well, you shouldn't be wondering, you should already know. It's the Omega Seamaster. It fits every single one of these attributes, checks every single box. The Omega Seamaster is my cornerstone. The second watch that you need to have in your collection is the Heirloom watch. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be a piece that has been passed down to you, but you should have a watch in your collection that you want to pass down to future generations. This watch should have some sort of sentimental value to you. You should have memories tied to this. There should be photos of you with this watch on your wrist. That way, when your grandkids, your great-grandkids are looking at photos of you, they can see the watch in hand and they can see what you were doing in the photo at that time. This watch should be a physical representation of a memory that you have. Was this the watch that you wore on your wedding day, or the day your child was born, or the day you got a promotion? These are the details that your Heirloom watch should have. Now, for my Heirloom piece, it is once again my Omega Seamaster, and not only that, my father's Omega Seamaster. Hopefully it's a watch that gets passed down from generation to generation to kind of build a family tradition of having Omega Seamasters in the family. It's a weird goal, I know, but it's a tradition that I want to start. Now, the next watch is a little bit more subjective than the last two. This is the X Factor watch. This should be a watch that is somewhat uniquely complicated or a design that you don't see very often. The one that's in my collection is my Bel Canto right here on my wrist. It has a chiming feature that you don't really see. This is going to be a conversation starter. Maybe people are going to ask you about the watch itself, on how it functions, or where the design came from. I actually have a couple of different ones. I have my Bel Canto. I have my Metal Gear Solid 5 watch, which I get compliments on that one all the time just because how weird it does look. But at the end of the day, the X Factor watch should be something that's fun to wear in a formal setting and not a formal setting, right? My dress watch is my X Factor watch, which that's why I hate the categories of having a dress watch and a dive watch and a sports watch and a chronograph, because at the end of the day, I really don't care about watch types at all. Like, I don't necessarily need a chronograph. I don't really need a dress watch. I have a watch that I use as a dress watch, but it wouldn't really technically be considered a dress watch. Same thing with my Tudor Royal. I can wear it as a dress watch, but it's more of a sports watch. That's why I hate having those strict types of having a dress watch and a chronograph and blah, 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 blah. And this next watch category, everyone's seen it, but since most people assume that a G-Shock is the only beater watch, I decided to rename this category the Daily Driver. Now, this should be a watch that you wear during your most rigorous activities. So a G-Shock does fit that mold, but it doesn't necessarily have to only be that watch. This should be a watch that you're not really afraid to scratch up. This watch should be somewhat water resistant and doesn't have to be a 200-meter diver if you don't really go swimming all that often, but it should be able to be worn in the rain, in the shower, wash your hands with it. It should be able to at least get those basic things done, just in case you fall into a puddle, right? It should be able to withstand that. This watch should also be functional and legible for the types of activities that you need to track. For example, if you're a runner, you might need something that tracks your lap time. Or if you're an outdoorsman, you may need something that has a little bit higher water resistance rating or some sort of shock protection. But above all else, you should not be worried about scratching this watch or cracking the crystal or anything like that. So what's my daily driver? Yeah, it's the Omega Seamaster. I know, it's weird. If I could wear this watch every single day, I would wear this watch every single day. And I don't mind getting it scratched. I don't mind the crystal getting nicked and chipped. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. I want to wear that watch at any given opportunity. And who knows, maybe if I didn't have a watch channel, that would be my one watch collection and I would just end it there. But it's kind of hard having a watch channel, only having one watch, but the one watch collection, that's the goal. That is the goal at the end of the day. But that's neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and move on to the last watch category, and that is your Grail watch. Now, that's an open-ended category. Is it something that you have in your watch collection right now or a Grail that you're looking to add in the future? And that's really up to you. Do you want to have a placeholder in your watch box that you say, hey, one day, that is going to be my Grail watch, whatever it is. Now, at one point in time, I considered the Omega Seamaster a Grail watch because I never thought I would spend that type of money on a watch. And I don't know if I'm going to spend more money on a more expensive watch, but maybe by the time I retire, I will finally get a Grail watch that will encompass basically everything I have on this sheet, whether that's a different Seamaster in the future, or maybe it's a solid gold Rolex President. I have no idea. I could really say any watch is my Grail watch. It doesn't really matter at this point. Ulysses Nardon Freak, like that could be my Grail watch. It doesn't really matter to me right now because I'm not even thinking about that point in time. When I'm closer to that date, maybe 5 years removed from retiring, maybe I'll start thinking of a Grail watch that I want to add. But for your watch collection, you should have a Grail type of piece, whether that's, a $1,000 watch or $500 watch. It doesn't really matter the price, just whatever a Grail piece is to you, or you should have an idea of a Grail that you want to add in the future. But I guess the Seamaster at one point in time was my Grail. Now I have it. So yeah, I have my Grail, kind of. So now that we've gone over the main watch collection, let's go ahead and move on over to that extended collection. And I have 3 different categories for the extended collection, the first of which is going to be your Hall of Fame watches. These are watches that played a significant role in your watch collection journey and probably have some sort of sentimental value to you. That's why you can't bear to sell them or throw them away or give them away or anything like that. Some of the watches that are in my Hall of Fame are my Tweety Bird and Sylvester watch that I got when I was 7 or 8 years old, a Fossil watch that I bought when I was in 8th grade, the Movado Circa I wore on my wedding day, and even a vintage Raqueta watch, which I don't think I've ever showed on the channel. It's actually the reason why I don't want to buy vintage, because I realized that they're way too small for my wrist. But it's in my Hall of Fame nonetheless, as being my first vintage timepiece. Now, the next watch you can add to your extended collection is a watch I like to call the Drifter. Now, the Drifter is actually one of the main reasons why I wanted to make this video. It's a watch that's trendy right now. Think about the Moon Swatch or the PRX or the Soyosa or any number of watches from any of these micro brands that are hot for the moment. That's what the Drifter is. Now, I'm not saying for you not to buy a trendy watch. I'm not saying that at all. But limit the trendy watches to one at a time, hence the name the Drifter. But it's going to be a watch that drifts in and out of your collection every few months. Now, I've been guilty of this myself. I've bought 3 PRXs. I've bought a Soyosa. I've bought a Q Timex. I've bought them all, right? All these hot, trendy models. But at the end of the day, they don't mean anything to me. So why would I even have them in my collection? At least with them being in my extended collection, I can limit myself to just having one of them and just accepting that I'm going to have a trendy watch from time to time again, but you should be fine as long as you don't build your entire watch collection around trendy watches. That's going to be a watch collection that you're going to regret over the next, year or two. And the last watch you can add to your collection is going to be the guilty pleasure watch. Listen, you want to add that Daniel Wellington watch to your collection? Go ahead. I'm not stopping you. It's your money. You can buy the Daniel Wellington if you want to. You want to buy that fashion watch, that Guess watch, that Gucci watch. Go ahead. I'm not telling you not to. You can add one. Don't add more than one. You don't want to waste your money too much. There's probably very little resale value on those watches. So don't build a collection around your guilty pleasures. It's okay to have one. It's like chocolate. You can have one piece. But the second you have a whole tub of chocolate, you might have diabetes. That doesn't make any sense. By no means am I claiming that this is the perfect watch collecting guide at all. This is the best guide on YouTube. Don't get me wrong. This is the best guide on YouTube that there is for watch collecting, but it's not perfect. So if I missed a category, please let me know in the comment section down below. What's a category that's in your watch collection that I missed? I would love to know. And that way I can refine my list. Right now, it's a rev zero, so to speak. I can make modifications, I can move forward. But for 2024, this is the best watch collecting guide out there. In the comment section down below, please let me know what you think about my guide. Or if I missed a couple of categories, let me know. I will be sure to revise this list for 2025. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you like this video, go ahead and watch, watch my State of the Collection. You'll see what watches I had in my State of the Collection of last year, 2023. Go ahead. It's right there. I'm drinking Old Forester, 1870 original batch, if you were wondering. Click the video. Watch. Go.